officially welcoming everyone to our session today on Salutogenesis Holistic Health and International Webinar Series organized by Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine of Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth in collaboration with Indian Yoga Association Puducherry chapter. We would like to offer our salutations to the father of Salutogenesis, Professor Aaron Antonovsky, in whose honor during his centennial year we are organizing all these events. Today, we have two sessions. The first one by Yogacharya Sridharanji, the senior mentor of KYM, Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, on concepts of the Chaturvidha Purushartha, Dharma, Karma, as models to understand the purpose of human life. So here the question of the purpose of human life, followed by a session on structured music therapy-based classroom activities for children with special needs by our own Dr. Baishali Mukherjee, who is a faculty member at the Chennai School of Music Therapy and also here at our School of Music Therapy. Introducing our first speaker of the day, we have with us our most eminent Yogacharya, in fact, one of the senior most and most experienced Yogacharyas of our country today, Yogacharya Sridharanji sir. We welcome you, sir, to this event and such an honor to have you with us. He is the senior most teacher of the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram and currently serving as advisor in senior yoga therapy consultant and mentor at the KYM. He has been a student of his guru, PKV Deshikacharya sir, and learned the nuances of yoga in the Gurukula style for over 3 decades. He was for 25 years the managing trustee of KYM, and the golden years of KYM where also he made sure that the ISO certification happened and so many developments that brought KYM to the forefront. He has served with expertise in the member of the Governing Council of MD Nebai, Yoga Certification Board of the Ministry of Ayush and Governing Body of CCRYN. He is currently the Vice President as well as Executive Council and lifetime member of IYA, the Indian Yoga Association. A yoga expert in the WHO Technical Review meeting for developing the M-Yoga mobile application, has been awarded the title Dronacharya by Rotary Club of Madras. And during our own SBV Yoga Mahotsav last year, we were honored to honor sir with the Lifetime Achievement Award. He has represented India in World Yoga Festivals in China and the UK and authored a very special book in Tamil, which is a biographical sketch of his own teacher and guru, Guru's Guru, Param Guru, the one and only T. Krishnamacharya ji. So with this short introduction to sir, more than anything, Sridharan sir has been a very close, loving mentor for us at ISCM. From the time SAITA was founded in 2010, sir was there for the cutting of the ribbon ceremony, to the recent yoga day where it was announced that ISCM would be formed. That was in IDY 2022. To the recent IHRC event where sir was with us. So once again, our gratitude and respects to you, sir. I will be making you a co-host in case you would like to share a PPT or anything, so that will make it facilitated. Namaskaram, sir, the screen is all yours.
Thank you. I'll share the screen. Is the screen clear?
Yes, sir. It is not. Yeah, perfect, sir. Now it's perfect.
I'll start with a prayer to my teachers. Shri Krishna Vagisha Yatishwarabhyam Samprapta Chakrankana Bhashya Saram Srinut Narankendra Yatau Samarpita Swam Sri Krishnamacharya Guruvaryamide Virodhe Kartike Mase Shatatara Krutodayam Yogacharya Krishnamacharya Guruvaryamaham Bhade Krishna Suri Daya Patram Jnana Vairagya Bhushanam Srimad Venkatanathāryam Vandegam Yogadeshikam Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Bhadram Karni Vishnunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Tuttuvagam Sastanubhihi Yashim Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddhashravaha Swastina Purusha Vishwavedaha Swastina Saksha Arishtanemihi Swastino Brihaspatir Dhadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good morning, Namaskaram, Vanakkam. First, I would like to thank Ananda, my dearest person. What relationship I should say, more than anything. And in whatever forum I see him and I am with, I am extremely glad. It makes one kutuhala. So I first heartfully thank him and thank Dr. Meena also in coordinating and the management of SBV and the Institute of Salutogenesis in making this webinar and to invite me to talk. So as Dr. Ananda said, it is Chaturvidha Purushartha, Dharma, Karma. Ikigai I am not taking up. I am taking up the Chaturvidha Purushartha, Dharma and Karma because that itself appears to take us towards, and towards the end I will also wind up and talk what is about Ikigai, your word. Now I will go up to about 40 minutes and leave about 10-15 minutes for questions. No, that's a way. Let us first go and try to reflect on what is purpose of life. See, human beings versus other living beings, prani, that is the word they use. Prani means anything that has a prana. So animals, birds, animals, even trees, plants, they are all pranis only. We are also called prani. But we are called manavaha, manushyaha. The reason is we have the power to think and reflect. We are all here only because of this. I don't think there is any other non-human being in this group or in any group. That is the reason. We are all reflecting. We have the power to reflect. Man is the root word. So what does it mean and what does it take to? Let us try to first understand one concept. The concept is every one of us, the Manavaha, all, they have a Purusha, soul, which is perceiving and experiencing. And it is through the system of body, mind, and senses. This concept must be very clearly understood. Whether we believe, we don't believe is different. I cannot see the Purusha, sir, should I believe? That's a different topic altogether. We can prove it, but I think that forum will go into a different topic. So let us first get into the concept, Purusha Prakriti, Kshetra, Kshetrajna. This is the most important. Every one of us have a Purusha inside. That is what is seeing, what is talking, what is hearing, using the system. When this is clear, what is the purpose of life or birth of every one of us? This is for the soul to go through the experiences of pleasure and pain based on the past actions called karma. And Yoga Sutra says, Kleshamulaha, Karmashayo, Dritta, Adrishta Janma. Janma means birth. Dritta, Adrishta Janma, Vedaniyaha. Easy to know. Drishta Janma, Adrishta Janma, no. So this is the sutra. So it is all of us, according to Vedas, Vedantas, Yoga Sutras, Yoga, anything that is in India, ancient knowledge, clearly talks that we are not born without a purpose. The only thing is, I would like to be more practical. All of us here, including me, would be doing some purpose. But look at it and reflect. That just comes in. So we were children, and we had to be put into a school. Either it was not at our own making. So the parents put us into a school, purpose. And then we get educated. Then immediately we thought we should go to a job. Every one of us will go to a job. Then we earn money. Moment we earn money, our own parents tell, why don't you get married? We get married, those who are fortunate to this side, those who are fortunate to the other side. When I get married, but they will be raising something, they will do. Married or not married. The world is such that there is a community living. So the community living will continue. And we go on like that. So today there will be a webinar. So the purpose is to get ready for the webinar, for you to hear, for me to give. So after this, we'll close up and go. So this is the purpose in which we are going. And this purpose builds upon some basis on which we are not very clear. But this is not at all correct. The correct is already a purpose of life or birth is decided. The blueprint has been given. And based on that only this has come. And let us interestingly look into more. Our past actions, karmas, decide where we should be born, jati, how long we will live, ayu, and the experience of pain and pleasure. This is Satimule Tatvipako Jati Ayur Bhogaha. This is the 13th sutra. It talks about it. Why should one be born in a particular family? I don't want to take a particular experience among us because that might. So if we ourselves reflect and find out, we will be, why should I be born here? Why should I not be born to Ambani or somebody else or somebody, another person or some other family? And how long we live, most important point, when there is a purpose means, the purpose for anything has a purpose means there is something for which a purpose is there. Computer, there is a purpose with which we do so many things. So this system, how long it should be there? It is not the same for everyone. In fact, illness and death are divided. There are people who are in the hospital for years. They don't go. But there are people who just pass away like this. And the last one is the experience. Most important is experience pain or pleasure. I may be in the family of the most wealthiest person, but I will continue to be in a painful state, suffering. I may have been the most, smartest person, including getting into IIT. But look at the situation. Getting into IIT is so difficult. And it talks about 2-3 days back, someone is taking the life. So pain or pleasure. There are people who have less money, who are less educated, but they are very in a great state of pleasure. This is what we have brought from our earlier life based on the actions of the past, the purpose of life. The purpose of life has already been decided by everyone. In fact, when we are talking about this, we are talking about all living beings even. But the only difference is Manava has got a power to reflect and think. The other animals do not have it. They have to go through, and they will go through it, and then they will come back, because everyone has a soul. Now let us go to the next one. Then they take us to the next question. Is the life a chance or a choice? Because if you are saying it has already been a blueprint, everything has been given to you. This body is the kshetra in which I am living. In fact, it has been so properly defined, and it has been so designed in a way, and it is not the same for everyone, because it has to provide for the pressure and pain. So, if that is the case, that appears to be just a chance, Is there a choice that I can make? Human beings have been given the faculty of mind to make the choice. That's what I said in the beginning, Manava. Animals and plants do not have that. If they are not able to do something, they will just submit themselves and go away. They will do their best, fight or flight. That's all. Human beings are not fight or flight. In fact, by doing this fight or flight, we are getting into a lot of difficulty. Like animals, we are doing the fight and flight, which is not our, and we get into it. So there is a choice, and the choice is through the faculty called mind. Only when we are alert, we can make the choice. Only when we are alert, we can make the choice. Mostly we are mechanical, we act mechanically, and hence go by the chance route, not knowing that we are going by the chance route. Not knowing that we are going by the chance route, we are going. In the chance route, is it bad? Is it wrong to go through the chance route? No. But let us understand the chance route, which I am talking about based on our past karmas, has a mixture of both. It is not always happiness. It is not always sadness. It is not that I am put to do only good things. It is not always that I am put to do bad things. So, given a choice, I would like to do only those things which will give me happiness, those things which in future will also give me happiness, which will not be a cause of any hindrance to my life. But that I don't know. In fact, to retain my past best karmas actions and to do away with the bad worst karmas actions or pass through that, handle them, is the choice. So, but what we do, we mechanically go through. We are saying, oh, there is a failure. I don't know why. I think I will try to put the failure on the system or on somebody else. Why don't you reflect and find out why there was a failure? And find out what is the cause of your success. You always take the success in yourself, true, correct. But there has been a lot of other factors also. So the first thing that we need to know, even to know the purpose of life, we need to be a bit alert. This is where dhyana, yoga and all are going to come. I'm going to talk about them in a few minutes. So the purpose of life for every one of us is decided. We come with that blueprint. And going through that purpose of life, where do we go? That is where the point is. Where do we go? Just to. That's why I have bought a car, and the car has come with everything. And sometimes the route is known, but often the destination is not known. We travel like that. We are going. So if the destination is clear and we need to know about it, we have certain points to go through. So let us understand this. So it is the Atma, Purusha, for which this life is. It is the Purusha which is living. That is why it's called living body, we say. The body only helps. So Purusha is the Prabhu. So that is what Yoga Sutra also says, Prabhu. And it is Aparinami. But it is Chaitanya. So it is the experience is for the Purusha, but it acts through the system of the Prakriti. Prakriti includes our body, which is made up of the Panchabhuta, and Trigunas, which is also again of the Trigunas grass part, and our own ego, ahankara, manam, chitta, which is called totally chitta in Yoga Sutra, manas, buddhi, and ahankara. These are all the set of drishyam part. And this part is used by the Purusha to achieve, to fulfill the purpose of life. It is the Purusha, Purushasya. Purusha Artha means Sanskrit, Purushasya Artha, Purushasya Prayojanam. And for this Purushasya Prayojanam, it uses this house. It has to use this house. And using the house, it creates further, that we will see what it also decides, it also creates further purposes of its own. Generally, our efforts are, this is what they said mechanically. Generally, our efforts are always oriented towards increasing and sustaining the pleasure and avoiding and removing pain. This is, every one of us will do it. Mechanically, we will do. We don't even wait to see why a pain is coming. A pain has come, I have to remove that. That's all. And tomorrow I must get this. That's somewhat may I must get a particular thing, and I think that is going to increase my pleasure. Ultimately, we will know it may not. So the idea of this. Generally, our efforts are oriented towards increasing and sustaining pleasure and avoiding and removing pain. In fact, this is common even to other pranis. This is common to other animals, and especially for us. We are more trying to be more smart and intelligent to do certain things. They will try to do within their whatever are limited available resources to do. A plant will try to go towards something else to make itself if there is an impediment. Any and all actions, next concept that we must know, karma. We call actions karma. Karma has more than one meaning. That we take or leave. They leave some impressions which further accumulate and to decide our future path. We are in the purpose of life. So what is happening? We are also creating certain future purpose of life by doing some actions in a particular way. I had a chance to take on with somebody. That person really did some mistake, and I could have given him a slab, I could have given this thing. If I do it in a particular way, and it will create further causes of karma. In fact, the story of Buddha will be very relevant here. So Buddha comes down and he is moving from one place to the other with a lot of his disciples coming back. In the ancient days, all the great acharyas, gurus, when they come, they will be coming behind Shankara, Ramanuja, everyone. And similarly, thousands of people are behind Buddha. Buddha is leading in the front. Someone speaks at his face. And then Buddha takes his upper garment and wipes out. Immediately all the disciples jump and say, you are a great person of compassion. You have not done any mistake. We will all take upon him. It is an insult to all of us who are your disciples. He says, don't do anything. It is my past karma. Let me wipe it off. That is the idea here. They could have did so wrong. It is a mistake. Certainly. Everybody could have just beaten him up to the front. That is where further karmas we are creating. So based on the past karmas impressions, we do another karma. And that karma will create another impression. And it goes cyclically. This is coming in the 3 sutras. Reshamulaha karma sayo dritta dritta janma vedaniyaha. Tati mule, tat vipako, jati ayun bhogaha, te khlata paritapa palaha, punya hetutvat, punya pala, punya karma, apunya karma. We will come to that one shortly. Karmas are divided as good and bad. Good and bad in English means good because they are resulting in not only pleasure, bad because they not only lead to pain, Good because it is going to help us towards move in the right direction, not in the wrong direction. Punya apunya hetutvat. Klata paritapa means only pleasure and pain. Paritapa pain. Klata means pleasure. So this is the 14th sutra. Te klata paritapa palaha punya apunya hetutvat. Do we know that we are creating our own purpose of life further right now, right at this moment, right at this juncture? We don't know that. And what we have done earlier is not what we are going through. So first, let us reflect on this particular important aspect. Now let us go to the Chaturvidha Purushartha. The Vedas, first we must know. All of us here would be knowing, but I need to we need to just go glance through the idea of Vedas. Vedas, the most ancient text of India, which has emanated from India, is considered to be anadi. It is not authored apaurushaya. It is not authored by someone. It is supposed to be even for God. God is not the author of the Vedas. God is only supposed to be, the God is the one about whom the universe, everything is talked about in the Vedas. And the Vedas continue to exist according to the ancient idea. There are kalpas, the universe goes back and again comes back, it is created. But whatever is happening, the Vedas continue to remain. The Vedas are remaining, they come back. There are a lot of ideas how the Vedas are brought back, but they continue to remain in the same form. And what is the speciality of the Vedas is, it is a complete manual for right living, a gift from the Creator. Supposing we buy a washing machine, immediately we get a manual and we are supposed to go through the manual. And after only getting some inputs into the manual, we are supposed to operate. And if by any chance we do a mistake, and if it goes off, the person comes and takes on us and says, why, I told you should have gone through the manual. You wrongly put the plug somewhere else. We have such a beautiful manual available called Veda. And it is a gift from the Creator. So we in the last slide, what is that? It says that whatever action we do now, it is going to get reflected earlier. Whatever we have done earlier, I have to handle. So how do I do this? How do I do this? Is there a way that I get some help from somewhere? It looks like that it is not coming from within. So we need some help from outside because there are certain forces which are working inside us, which are either helping or not helping. So I need to identify them. So Vedas are the base. So Vedas becomes the base. In fact, Vedas are so vast. They are called Trayi, Rik, Yajur, Sama. Atharvana together becomes Chaturveda. And the Vedas are also so big, they are called Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Basically, in all the Vedas, we have got Karma Kanda, which gives all action oriented, what one should do in a daily basis, how they should do it. And Jnana Kanda talks about what is this universe, from where it came, is there a creator, what is the nature of the creator, if there is one, what is the relationship between the creator and all the living beings. All those aspects are coming under the Jnana Kanda. Karma, action, Jnana, knowledge. And this is the basic division. Jnana Kanda is in the form of Upanishads. Karma Kandas are in the form of Samhitas, Brahmanas, and others. Yajurveda gives a lot of, things. So there are a lot of activities that one should do every day. And once a day, once a while, once a month, once in a year. So many things are there. Or once in a special situation, If I need something, I need a home, I feel that I should have some possession of wealth. Welcome. We can even do certain things in the Vedas and you will get them. So that is the type of background of the Vedas. It analyzes everything. In fact, the Vedas gives a lot of more information. Now, the Vedas cannot be deciphered directly. It's not very easy. So we get various, particularly the two important epics we call in English, Itihasa, Ramayana and Mahabharata. In fact, Mahabharata is called Panchama Veda. It is called the fifth of the Veda. And Ramayana is also called Veda. Veda Vedye Pare Yogi, Dasharathatmajaha Ramaha. See, the Rama becomes the creator, the God takes a form, and Vedas becomes the Ramayana. Ramayana is the Vedas. So the message of the Vedas are there in Itihasa and Puranas also. In the Itihasa, the characters will talk in a way that you will know what is right, what is wrong. For example, if we take the Mahabharata, towards the end, Krishna, who is himself the God, takes the Dharmaputra, takes him to Bhishma, who is in the bed of arrows, and says, please learn everything from this great sire. And he gives a lot of dharmas, which include what are all the various dharmas. So through the voice of Bhishma, Vyasa gives it to the whole universe. They are message of the Vedas. And we have got in the Karma Kanda, we have got a various Kalpa Sutras and others, which talks about how an action should be done, if it has to be done. So many intricate details. Now, let us go back to the idea. This Prakriti has been given to us. When we say Prakriti, the body, the mind and senses, this is given to us for two reasons. One is Bhoga and Apavarga. Let us understand one thing clearly. I think most of us would have, some part of time, would have reflected. We were not manufactured in any place. Our parents did not manufacture and give it to us. The parents were responsible for us to come to the earth. Actually, the Prakriti has been given by the nature, by the God, and it is given in a particular form to us, to every one of us. So this idea of Bhoga and Apavarga in Yoga Sutra comes. Prakasha, Kriya, Sthiti, Sheelam, Bhuta Indriya Atmakam, Bhoga Apavargartham Drishyam. Drishyam means that which is seen. That which is seen, that which helps in seeing is Drishyam in Sanskrit. Drashta, Purusha, soul. For this Drashta to go through a Bhoga, an enjoyment, or Apavarga, release, emancipation, the Prakriti, which is called as Drishyam, is there. It is given. Let us understand that we are like a custodians of this. So we haven't understood. We should be a bit alert to understand the relationship between our soul and our body. There are, in fact, recently I came across some people very learned also, of course, in Vedas. They are serving in some important temples and all. The person was not taking care of the body. So I had to politely tell the person, look, the God has given you this Prakriti to take care, not for simply enjoyment. That Bhoga is not the point. But you need to take care. Shariram adhyam kalu dharma sadhanam. That is, you should have the Sharira properly without illness so that you go through this purpose, you also help, you attain certain things. So the idea of Bhoga, we will see what it is. And also emancipation. So what is that we are gaining now? We are gaining the idea that the Purusha has got the Prakriti for Bhoga and Apavarga. Here I've got a house, I buy a house, I just want to live there. All things are there, electricity, everything is put there, and I have entered the house. I am supposed to live here, I can enjoy. In the case of the human being, we can also use the Prakriti for emancipation, not throw the Prakriti away. Chaturvidha Purushas come here. The idea of Chaturvidha Purushas is, it is from the Veda, and they are given in a particular form for us to understand through the Itihasas particularly. So if we take Ramayana, Rama will be talking to Bharata, Rama will be talking to Lakshmana, and Rama will talk to Hanuman. Hanuman will in return give a reply. So Sita will talk to Hanuman in Sundaraganda. So many, all this, if we are just looking at only the story value, then we will lose it. But if we go deep inside, we will know all these are embedded there. They are all messages for us only. So what is the Chaturvidha Purushas which are given there is, okay, I have already got a body based on my past actions, which is given to me. And I have, already it is moving, I have a choice. I have a choice to make certain things. And what basis on which I can make the choices? Is there anything that I can hold on to and based on which I can do that? Is this Chaturvidha Purusha? And it says, I'll give you some ideas. I'll give you some models. If you work on the basis of this, you will not only have the Bhoga, you will also have the Apavarga. So, Yoga Sutra said, which is the Prakriti is for both Bhoga and Apavarga, but I have received it based on my past actions. I just would like to know how I should properly use it in a way so that I attain the best in both. And I also attain what is the ultimate one. The place from where there is no unhappiness, there is no return. We will come back to it. Dharma, moral values, righteousness, a very big word. What holds on, what helps in holding on, dharma, to hold. Artha, economic prosperity, economics or whatever it is. It's not only money. Artha means not just money only. It can be even taken as work. Pleasure, kama, pleasure. So dharma can be taken to be a knowledge. Artha can be taken to be work. Kama can be taken to be enjoyment or the result. And moksha is liberation, which is separate. These are the Chaturvidha Purusha. In fact, most of the time, this is divided into various ways. But let us understand, they just overall gave this, and there are a lot of ideas. Dharma Sutras are there. For example, every one of these four, there are text manuals available through in various forms. Dharma Sutras are there, which talks about what is Dharma and all that. Artha Shastra Continua is there. Kama is not only simple pressure, there are other things talking about what is this Kama, desire, etc. What is the rightful desire? In fact, Dharma is the base. There is no Artha according to this concept without Dharma. A Dharma-based Artha, a Dharma-based Kama. In fact, Moksha even requires Dharma. Moksha itself also requires Dharma. It's called Moksha Dharma. Moksha Dharma, which is given to Dharmaputra in one chapter by Bhishma in the bed of arrows. Dharma forms the base of the other three. The key point is in the use of this model, particularly this model, is to understand the Dharma Jnana. We should know the Dharma by Jnana, action, knowledge, and then follow it in action, Dharma Karma. This we call as Dharma Karma, Adharma Karma, something, you would have heard it about it. Oh, this is an Adharma Karma, don't do that. Oh, this is a Dharma Karma, do that. So we must know the Dharma here is not simply separated. It is joined together. So first we must have a Dharma Jnana, and then we must do the Dharma Karma. And the Karma will lead us to the Artha and Kama. And if we are alert and continue, we will be even taken to the next stage. We will be able to go through to the next stage. Now, see, what is the problem about this Dharma? What is exactly the problem? Is that difficult? We are saying that there are manuals available. Why not we take, nowadays all manuals are in Google. Well, if you put Dharma, it will give you all. Everything is there. And in fact, whatever Bhishmacharya said, or everything is available. If that is simple, why not we follow? That is where this is. And let me see the Dharma problem. Look at it. Arjuna tells Krishna, Karpanya dosho upahata swabhavaha, Karpanya dosho upahata swabhavaha, Prichami tvam sarva dharma sammuda theta, Itsreyaha, Sha nichita, Bruhi tanme, Shishyasteham, Shadimam tvam prapannam. One of the very, very important slokas of the Bhagavad Gita. There are certain slokas of the Bhagavad Gita which are supposed to be even memorized completely, like the Sarvadharman Paridhyate. There are so many. And this is a very special sloka, which is the starting point of Bhagavad Gita. This is the starting point of Bhagavad Gita. In fact, whatever prior to this, or only a introduction, he says, Arjuna is saying, with my heart stricken by the fault of weak compassion, I am perplexed about my duty. Here, please, Dharma is a Dharma, you heard. Duty is not a correct translation, but we have no other go. That's a duty and all are very bad translation. I would very much put, similarly, Karpanya dosho upahata swabhavaha. Swabhava means my own real swabhava. What is my swabhava? My swabhava is to fight. The moment he is seeing Karna, his hand will go towards the fear of honor. Immediately. So he has done so much. He is not a very fool. He is a very learned person, a very powerful person, got all things. And he has also known that Krishna, the Lord is his driver. Lord is taking him. But suddenly something overtakes him. And the Dharma Sammuda Chetaha is the point here. And he says, I am getting a confusion of that is right and wrong. Dharma Sammuda. Chit. Cheta means chit. I totally fall at your feet. Please take me as your disciple and teach me who else can give me a refuge. The greatest, Arjuna is not an ordinary person. Greatest. And this is why the Bhagavad Gita continues to be for millennium a text of guidance. It is not because it is about the war field and all that. There are nothing. It is not. Arjuna is saying, please give me something else so that I fight properly. And Arjuna says, yeah, whatever fighting has to be done, he knows how to do it. He is in such a state. Dharma sammuda chetaha. So, understanding Dharma. Does he not know Dharma? He knows. What is right and what is wrong, he doesn't know. He knows. He is not only he has not only studied, he has also gone through. And there are certain situations where there will be talk by Arjuna and others talking about what is Dharma, what is right and what is wrong. So now he is in that. So if we have the knowledge, we must have the right knowledge at the right time, at the right place. Dharma. So Dharma, yes, right, it is available, but I just don't know. And let us look at another interesting situation. Dharma in action. So I know what is right, Arjuna does not know. Arjuna is saying, I am confused. I am confused. And please take me. But one of the Acharyas who has given commentaries, he says, this Shastra is born because of the confusion in the mind of Arjuna about Dharma. But let us look at it in a very another way. Duryodhana, he says, Dhyanami dharmam nachame pravrittihi, dhyanam yadharmam nachame nivrittihi, kene kenapi devena kritistitena, yatani yuktosmi tata karomi. I know what is dharma. Now who is saying? Duryodhana is saying, I know what is karma, dharma. I cannot get myself to follow through that. I know what is adharma, yet I cannot retire from it, take away from it. Oh, lot of senses dwell in. Something is in my heart, and I am impelled to do all these things. I am impelled by something. Kenapi devena kritistitena. Something, deva means some super powers, divinity. I don't know, kenapi, which is there. Kritistitena in my heart, yata nirtosmi tata karomi. I am doing whatever is given. So there he knows what is dharma and what is adharma, unable to act. Arjuna does not, he knows what is dharma and adharma, got a confusion. Now, before we go into the next one, Arjuna himself is asking Krishna a point. See, the question is, why one should do mistake? That is the question. Okay, dharma or adharma. Why at all one should do mistake? If I do punya karma, always good. If I do papa karma, always bad. Okay. And what is punya papa itself is a problem, but we have to know about it. And then execution is a problem. But he says, this is the leading point of the day. He says, Arjuna vacha atakena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anicchana vivarshneya bhaladiva niyoditaha. Arjuna says, impelled by what? Something, Krishna. Does one commit sin against his or her own will, constrained as it were by a force? It is like a force. Why should I be thrown to do some mistake? What happens to all of us? We are saying, I don't know why I did this. I know it's a mistake. I don't know that. I don't know why I did. This happens to us, all of us, sometime or the other. Krishna says, Kamayesha Krodayesha Rajoguna Samudbhavaha Mahashano Mahapapma Vidhi Enamiha Vairinam. This is the foe. Which is the foe? It is that foe, the guna is rajas, which is causing one to kama and leading to krodha. Kama leading to krodha, making one to do the papa. So it is rajoguna. Rajoguna is the foe. Rajoguna is not, cannot be seen. It will be seen by action through the mind. It is through the mind that one will be able to see chitta. Let us go into that aspect. So, let us now look into this point. So, we have the following: Dharma, Artha and Kama one side, Moksha on the other side. So, Chaturvidha Purushartha. We are into Chaturvidha Purushartha. Dharma, Artha and Kama, and Moksha into another side. See, let us look at it. Rajas and Tamas are predominant, prominent, and when they are prominent, they take us to the Papa Karma. So we will go through the process of taking Artha in a wrong way, Kama in a wrong way, and that will lead to suffering and cycle of birth and death. So that is why these three are separated. In fact, in some areas, people will even call as the Purusharthas as three, Moksha as a separate one. And this is called as Sattva, Rajas and Tamas is here, Mishra Sattva. The Sattva is there. It is along with Mishra, combined with Rajas and Tamas, So what happens? There is some punya and papa, both are happening. So it is not that I continue to only papa. I do punya, I do papa, I do punya, papa. So happiness and suffering, cycle of birth and death, that is what is happening in there. The cycle of punarapi jananam, punarapi mananam, punarapi tadari, tadare janani, tadare sayanam. Adi Shankara says, again and again. This also is, of course, in Yoga Sutra is there. I want to take a lot into Yoga Sutra because we are always into yoga, into more than the Vedantas. So it is this. In fact, where is this coming from? In fact, the idea of Rajas and Tamas as an expression, Rajas and Tamas cannot be seen. It's an expression of them is the kleshas. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha. They are the expressions of the two. When they are in excess is the problem. See, the Artha and Kama are not bad by itself. Similarly, even an amount of Asmita is there only because of Asmita. I will be able to talk to you or you will be able to hear me. Otherwise, we cannot do. Everyone will get up and go away. Now, some amount of something is fixing it there. That is required. But when it becomes too much, it's a problem. Let us understand the raga. Raga is something required. If I want to do a good activity, I must have a raga. Even for yoga doing, I must have a raga. So, dvesha, wrong things. I don't want to do this. Dvesha can be used, is used. And there should be an amount of abhinivesha. Otherwise, we will jump away and we don't know where we will be going. All these are required, but in a particular amount only. So, but the excess, what we are talking about is the excess. The Rajas and Tamas are covering the sattva. That is the problem. That is why pranayama is stated as tataha kshiyate prakasha avaranam. So, that is how it is removed. So, the cycle of birth and death, if we go by the dharma, artha, kama alone, nothing else, it is okay. But it takes us into the cycle of birth and death. Sometime it will be all punya karma itself. And maybe, according to Puranas, one may even be able to go to heaven, the place of no suffering. But that is only for a period. As soon as the punya karmas are over, the person falls down. And then they have to go through the same. And how much we have accumulated. Let us go to the first slide. The purpose of life. Sanchita karma, that is called the Sanchita karma. What we are now having is only prarabdha karma. This Sanchita karma load, we don't know. It is so much. Anadi, that is the word it says. Tasam anaditvam chasisho nityatvat. That is the Yoga Sutra. It is anadi. So we don't know that, and we don't know the amount of the Sanchita karma that we have. And we are creating more and more also. So this is the idea of cycle of birth and death. It will go through. If we don't put a stop to that, we should know that we will not be able to come out of it completely. That is where the idea of moksha comes, which is a word which is used in Vedanta and all that. Kaivalya is another word used in the Yoga Sutra. Here, in terms of the gunas, it is only Suddha Sattva, predominantly or fully. Release from punya and papa completely, liberation. And sometimes, somewhere we can even see the gunas are transcended. Purushartha shunyanam gunanam pratiprasavaha kaivalyam. Swarupa pratishtava chitishaktiriti. Last of the sutra. So Purushartha shunyanam, everything is completed. I have completed it. So when the Purusharthas are completed, for which we came, purpose of life, we have done it in a way. We cannot do all the Sanchita karmas, everything. In a particular way, gunas are going back to their places and they will not be impotent active now. They will become impotent. In fact, the person will be able to even take the gunas in hand if it is required. That is the idea here. It doesn't mean that the person is. Buddha lives after realization. Ramana lives after realization. That they have all the gunas in their hand. Everything is in their hand. And beyond the three gunas, Krishna also tells Arjuna, Traigunya Vishayan Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavajuna. Even Vedas are considered to be having the three gunas. But you be Nistraigunya, beyond the three gunas, and take charge of the gunas. So, right knowledge of the Purusharthas is the first step. So, in the Purusharthas, Dharma, right knowledge of the Dharma, because he says, I am confused. And the other person says, I know, but I am not able to do. So, the first is knowledge. So, we are in the stage of Arjuna's second chapter. Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, Arjuna. Knowledge of the Purusharthas, though essential, is not enough to achieve the purpose of life, immediate or ultimate. Because knowledge alone will not give anything. You need a right practice, which is very important. This is Duryodhana's example. Mind is the instrument of action. Mind can be a friend and mind can be a foe. So when we want to have the Purusharthas, which is a fantastic manual, good model available to us, it is just like having a very good car, but I just don't know how to take it out, how to drive and all that. It's of no use or wrong use. We will go and hit it. We must know how to do this, how to go on with the model properly. And is it that difficult? Yes, it is difficult. But you don't have to read the manual again and again and all that. You have to do something else somewhere else. Because the same manual, the same model will give you different message. If you do something at the level of the mind, because manayeva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. This is from Vishnu Purana. Mind is the cause. Atmaiva atmahi bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha. The word atma there is mind. Mind is the friend. Mind is the foe. So whether you have dharma, artha, kama, moksha, everything is there. It is through the mind that we have to understand. It is through the mind that we will have to use work also. All our indriyas are working through the mind. So it can be a friend and a foe. Sattvic mind is the friend. Rajasic and tamasic mind are the enemies. When the mind, chitta, is full of sattva, predominantly, sattva takes over. Sankhya says the trigunas are working one upon the other, one pushes the other, one pushes the other. There is a very fantastic example of how the trigunas are working in our system. It may be helpful for us to understand. There are various ideas. It is just like the ancient model of example is, we can see how the trigunas work in us. If you just sit upright and close the eyes, after some time you will know how the gunas are moving in you. Arjuna, Krishna tells Arjuna, don't think you are working. It is the gunas which is working in you. So the gunas, it is the universe is like a play field, football field or whatever it is. In the ancient days, probably they have raised it with some walls so that people will not be able to look at it. This is an ancient model. And the trigunas are like three human beings. But all the three wants to witness the match. So what they say, it is not enough that because the height is so much that only it has to, all the three persons will have to be there, one on the other to live. So it says, you stand on my shoulder, let the third person stand on the shoulder of the second person and let them witness for a few minutes, and the first person will come down. So Sattva will be watching sometime, come down. Rajas will go, come down. This is what is happening for us, One day morning we get up, we are like a Sattvic person, we are the most realized person. We will feel people should come and fall at our feet. After 5 minutes, we don't know where we are. So this is what is happening. Sattvic mind is the best friend, and Rajasic and Tamasic mind is the one which leads us away. Practice of the Ashtanga Yoga with the guidance of a Sadguru, most important, would make the mind Sattvic, and that makes it as a friend. In fact, how does this happen? Also, I'll give you a very quick idea. While yamas and niyamas are there, in fact, keep them away. It is just like the Chaturvidha Purushartha, yama and niyama. Asana. And this is what we are now, in most of the forums, wherever I and Ananda, we are talking about it again and again, is, okay, do asana, but how do you do it? Asanena rajohanti. You must do it in a way that it puts down the rajas. But nowadays, there are asanas in which the rajas is going up. By the way we do the asanas, the rajas should not go up. In fact, in Natyoga Pratipika, asanena rajohanti is the word. But the commentator, he says, practice of asanas in a particular way should guide you stairyam, arogyam, angalagavam. And stairyam is the opposite of rajas. Angalagavam is the opposite of tamas. And all illnesses are due to rajas and tamas. So you do asana in a particular way. Don't worry what the other person is doing. Don't jump. So that is the way. Asanena rajohanti. Asanas will bring down. Pranayama, just now I quoted you. Tataha kriyate prakasha avaranam. If you do the pranayama correctly, then it will lead you. And we should not stop with both. We should go to the dhyana. Yoga is dhyana. If we take the mind to the sattvic form and then sit and focus on a sattvic form, it should be a sattvic dhyaya. Then you remain in the sattvic position. The mind is cleansed of the impurities. Now look at the dharma, artha, karma. You will know what is to be done, how it is to be done. And you will also fulfill the requirements of the worldly life. Go through this process and automatically we ourselves get ready for the apavarga, because apavarga is going to happen at the end of the life. And you cannot do something at the end. You will have to get prepared for that. So the topic was about the Chaturvidha Purushas and karma. Karma also means action generally. What karma? What is rightful karma? It will be decided only. See, my person, somebody else may call me, this is the right karma. But let me find out, and if your mind is sattvic, the karma will become effective. You will choose the right karma, you will execute it properly so that the purpose of life is achieved. In fact, in Ikigai also they talk about only this in terms of 4 of them. And I think they are all coming within this Chaturvidha Purushas in a large way. They are also 4 actually. They come within this 4 because our ancient models are all grade basis. They give a larger and great base. So with this, it is just exactly 11:40, and I will stop here for taking questions, Meena and Ananda.
Thank you so much, sir. In fact, I'm totally blown away. I have listened to you many times, but today I think is the best I've ever heard you deliver Upanyasam. It is Upanyasa, it is Upadesham. It is not a mere talk at all. It is beyond that pure wisdom of what is life, how to perceive life, how to live, and how to transcend life into moksha and kaivalya. All has been covered because when we set out on this webinar, the idea was the modern concept of salutogenesis, how the concepts that are in tradition can be amalgamated, understood, and they can be a two-way discourse. And you have given great fodder for thought. I believe that this can become not just an article, but even a book actually. It has the content for that. So I open the floor for any questions. For the next few minutes, we can do it. And then we'll be going for our second talk of the day by Dr. Baishali Mukherjee. So over to our audience. You can unmute and ask a question.
There is a question, is apavarga samadhi? No, apavarga and samadhi are different. Samadhi is a state of mind. State of mind comes in the Ashtanga Yoga. Dhyana leads to samadhi. I would say please take samadhi as a state of mind of complete correct understanding. That's all. You don't confuse with the no thoughts, thoughts and all that. So apavarga is a path actually. You see, moksha or apavarga is the path towards liberation or moksha. And moksha is in two ways. Moksha is generally considered to be something like a liberation, that you pass away from the universe, you leave the universe, you don't come back. That's all. So that is the idea of moksha. If you are, some people talks about Jivan Muktas. Jivan Mukta, if you are looking at that, Jivan Muktas are supposed to be in the state of samadhi always. That is the link that you can talk about between apavarga and samadhi, because apavarga, for all of us, apavarga is the path. In fact, we don't have to look at the apavarga. If we do the other three properly, and if we do the dhyanam, it leads us towards the apavarga, because we are going to completely wipe off all those impressions in a way that apavarga will happen on its own. So there is no need for you to do even special efforts. You don't have to, because you are doing something to wipe off, and don't create further impressions. I hope it is clear. Is that okay, Ananda? What is the link between dharma, karma, and fate? Salavidhi. Okay. See, dharma, artha, karma, all together. In fact, when I started a purpose of life is Salavidhi. That is in Tamil. That is the idea. That is what we call as Salavidhi. That is a wrong idea. See, we have done something, and it is as if somebody else is putting it into our talai. It is no. Talai means it is not to go for resignation and say, oh, this is my talai vidhi. That's why I told you, talai vidhi is not there. It is a choice is given to you. Only animals can say talai vidhi. Human beings, you should not say talai vidhi. And they should be able to take it up and say, okay, I am not supposed to take masala dosa. I took it. I will have a stomach ache at 5 o'clock. So I will have to do something to wipe off the gas that I am creating. That is the talai vidhi that comes here. I am responsible. So that is the talai vidhi, because the purpose is decided by the past actions. The dharma, artha, kama done properly is a model. So when I am going to execute all those purposes, you do this model in a way that it will automatically take you towards the moksha.
I love that concept, sir. Such a beautiful concept, because Talavidhi, for those who don't know, it means like my fate, my destiny. And again, this debate between choice and destiny, free will and fate. And, as a human being, every moment we have a choice to alter our destiny. And this is a beautiful concept that sir has given. And the same thing, what you have said, I now find with the Tirukural,
yes,
which only talks of Aram, Porul, Inbam. The first three, Dharma, Artha, Kama, as Aram, Porul, Inbam. He doesn't have to talk about the moksha.
Weedu Kariyade. Aram, Porul, Dharmam da undu. Only Aram, Porul and Dharma.
Beautiful, beautiful. This is just such a beautiful session, and I would like to thank you, sir, for the session, because it really gives us so much. Prasida, please, you can unmute and ask a question, please. Such a pleasure to have you from Kaivaledama, my dear Prasida. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Namaste to all of you. Namaste, Dr. Meena, Dr. Ananda, to all the other fellow participants, and to you, Sridharan sir. It's been such a long time that I'm seeing you, and I'm so happy to see you and hear you again. My question was related to the Purushartha of Karma. So in one of your slides, you said that Krishna said that karma leads to krodha and probably some other things as well. Then why is it a Purushartha? Why should it be a Purushartha if it leads to something negative?
That's it. The karma, that is why I told you, It's a, for example, you cannot jump over and go. So the Kama leading to Krodha is the point there. Here, the Purushartha's Kama is not to lead to Krodha. The Kama here is a normal one. And if you know you will be able to get this, and you have a desire for that, and you achieve it, and you properly experience it, Krodha will not come. That is why I told you the Purushartha model cannot be directly taken away. It becomes, you need to have a preparation. If you have a Rajasic, Tamasic attitude, the Kama itself will be completely different. You know, if you take all this, we must be able to look into Ramayana and see. What was the problem between Ravana as well as, Ravana? It is Kama. He was actually a great person. The Kama of excess desire. Yeah, Rama and Sita are looking at each other and they also love each other and they get married. It is not a Kama. And the basic problem that arises even in Ramayana, you look at it, the stories are not for story purposes. Sita tells later. Sita says, you get me this, deer. And the deer, Lakshmana says, look at this, the Kama problem. See, even for Ravana, everyone says, please don't do that, please don't do that. The Kama is overtaking. There's nothing wrong. It's Rama. In fact, I told you that even we should have some amount of Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesa, they are required also. Should I not have a Kama to do yoga, for example? Let me have. Do that. It's a desire. And if the desire overtakes, and she says, Lakshmana says, no, this is not a good, real golden deer, don't go. He says, no, I'm not bothered. Bring it somewhere. Later she says, very much, what a mistake I did. The great goddesses, they are all living, they are all just doing this drama only to give it to us. So Kama is given there because you have already got a body. And this is the purpose based on what your past actions are. There is bound to be all you need to go through. You cannot throw this out. At the right time, your fruit will have to get fruitioned properly at the time will have to fall. If you plug it, you can't make a fruit out of it. So you go through the experience, but go through the experience of Artha and Kama. Actually, this is also related to, good question. This is also related to the 4 stations of life. Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. They are related to this, Chaturvidha Purushartha. So Brahmacharya, when the person learns and understands what is Dharma, studentship, then one will have to go through the process of Grahastha. They don't jump to Sannyasa. They go through the process of Grahastha. In Grahastha, you will have to do something for Artha. There will be something for Kama, but within the limited rightful Dharma. So Kama is not a bad word. Kama must be understood properly, and only when it is an excess, Krodha, it becomes a Krodha. Amount of vengeance that Ravana has, and he is telling Sita, tomorrow, if you don't agree within 2 months, I will take you as breakfast. Is that the Kama that is what we are looking at? No, that is not the Kama of the Purushartha. You understand, I hope.
Such a beautiful explanation, sir. Again, the importance of moderation, that everything should be in moderation. And again, the basis of everything is Dharma. So when your Artha and Kama is based on Dharma, it is a Purushartha. When Artha and Kama are not in tune with Dharma, they become pathological. Such a beautiful perspective. Thank you for that question, Prasida.
Thank you so much, both of you. Thanks a lot for that answer.
Thank you.
Considering our time constraint, I'm going to stop this first talk at this point. We thank you so much, sir, for your wisdom that you have shared with us and the blessings that we at ISCM always are receiving from you in abundance. Our gratitude is always there for you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I will give us, I'll just do a short, very short chanting. Shanno mitrasham varunah, Shanno bhavatvaryama, Shanna indro brihaspatihi, Shanno vishnurukramah, Namo brahmane, Namaste vayo, Tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi, Tvameva pratyaksham brahma vadishyami, Ritam vadishyami, Satyam vadishyami, Tanmam avatu, Tat bhaktaram avatu, Avatu mam, Avatu bhaktaram. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, Ananda. Thank you, Meena. Thank you to the management.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
I will log off, if you don't mind.
Thank you, sir. Coming to this second part of today's session in our Salutogenesis and Holistic Health webinar series, we have a talk by our own dear Dr. Baishali Mukherjee. Dr. Baishali is a senior faculty and research associate at the Chennai School of Music Therapy in Chennai, that is run by the former director of the music therapy wing, Dr. Sumati Sundar. She has also been an adjunct faculty at the School of Music Therapy, ISCM at SBV for many years and continues to serve with distinction now through the ISCM. She is a commission member of education and certification in the World Federation of Music Therapy and served as regional liaison between 2015 and 2020. The research work has focused on musical interaction and communication with children with autism spectrum disorder. And this is through the National Center for Autism Studies in Scotland, the UK. She has been trained with wide exposure in music therapy research and practice from the Nordoff Robbins School of Music Therapy, London, and from the Department of Psychology, Edinburgh University in Wales. It gives me great pleasure to welcome Dr. Baishali Mukherjee to present her talk today. And I'll be making you a co-host, ma'am, so that you can present your slides. Such a pleasure to have you with us. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Is my slide visible?
Not yet. It says you have started sharing.
Okay. Is it still not?
It's not coming up. Maybe you can stop screen sharing and then try again.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, now it's coming.
It's coming.
Yes, yes, yes.
So first, my sincere gratitude to the team of ISCM for having me here on this platform. And also good morning or afternoon to each and everyone participating in this workshop right now. And I'm really thankful to each and every member of ISCM. So today, after this enlightening discussion with Yogacharya Sridharan, sir, that I'm really lacking my confidence to start with this presentation because yes, actually I'm overwhelmed by his words of wisdom. So anyhow,
Ma'am, can you make it full screen mode?
Yes. Yes.
The slideshow mode.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it is taking little time. Yes, I have done.
Fine, ma'am. So then please continue. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So after these words of wisdom, so what I was telling that I'm really lacking my confidence, but anyhow, just let me give a try. So today's topic that I have taken is that how we can really, sir, it's not coming as full screen. Oh, okay.
Now it is. Now it is.
Yes. Yeah. So I just thought of giving it a try that how we can really think of integrating salutogenic orientation. I'm not here exactly talking about salutogenesis as a theory in educational context, but it is my effort to gather the concepts that lie around the topic salutogenesis, how we can think of integrating in the educational context when we think of using music or music therapeutic related activities to give for children in an educational setup. So of course, it is a kind of revision only. I know we already have listened to the eminent lecturers that who have already talked about sense of coherence and also the generalized resistance resources as the pillar concepts that lie at the foundation of this salutogenic orientation. Basically, these two foundations that, I mean, sense of coherence and the generalized resistance resources, this provide an orientation, and of course, that salutogenesis as an umbrella term, it includes many other concepts that come under the umbrella of sense of coherence as well as generalized resistance resource. Because under the sense of coherence, we see the concepts like comprehensibility, manageability, meaningfulness are all actually connected to the psychological concepts like cognition, affect, motivation, emotion. At the same time, this foundation that when a person actually is developing or developed with the sense of coherence, actually we can say the person has this resistance resource to cope with the challenges of the life. The person can see the life as more understandable, structured and consistent enough to cope, to deal, and also to adapt with the changes and the challenges of the everyday life. So how then we perceive salutogenesis in the developmental context? So I can remember that in the last session, I asked to the eminent lecturer that who was giving a lecture on the salutogenesis, that it immediately made me so curious to know what is actually the age group from when we can say this sense of coherence has started to develop, it has started to build. So after doing little bit of literature review and study that, what the literature says, salutogenesis in the developmental or it is in an educational context, we shouldn't look at as a determinant. It is not a determinant. It is an outcome of the developmental process that a child goes through. So we can actually think of the salutogenesis when to apply in an educational context, that how we can actually transform the growing challenges that a student face in the educational environment, how we can transform it into a growing sense of coherence. So in one, literature, in an article that Antonovsky, that he himself has mentioned, that sense of coherence actually it builds up from experiences of childhood and adolescence. So we can say that the age of this, actually, that starting from the childhood to till adolescence is one of the crucial, it is the most crucial time of our life, because this is the foundation that we actually build for the rest of our life in terms of our education, our growth, our development, even including our physical and our mental health. So till the age of adolescence, according to Antonovsky, that the sense of coherence is still a tentative one. So why not then actually approach and use this stage optimally and maximally to build this sense of coherence, to lay the foundation for later physical and the mental well-being. So if we have to consider that the sense of coherence as an outcome of the developmental process, so what are the main factors that basically contributing to this sense of coherence, where actually we as a music therapist or the people coming from the other allied healthcare disciplines can really integrate their expertise into the process. So these factors are basically that the individual himself. So here we can say the child himself, his personal experience, the individuality as well. Secondly, of course, it is the learning process. So which learning environment that the child is going through. So what are the learning opportunities, curriculum, learning environment that the student is enjoying or gaining out of this educational environment, and also the environmental influences. So an education system is just not the syllabus, the teacher and the curriculum is getting delivered. So there are also the other components, maybe including the school building, the kind of space available in the educational setup, the peer group, right? And also the peer group means the families of the friends, that the peers are coming from which kind of background. So everything is as a factor, as a determinant, actually contribute to our sense of coherence as a developmental process during this phase of childhood and adolescence. And finally, it contributes to our ability or making it as a resource for coping with our challenges in the form of comprehensibility, manageability, and the meaningfulness. So here it is just an effort that I have put. So if the comprehensibility, we think that it is a kind of understanding that we develop about our environment. So definitely then comprehensibility will be related to cognition. Meaningfulness, that of course it's so important that when we start understanding, yes, whatever is happening around has got some meaning in my life. So I actually enjoy that whatever I am doing because I know the meaning. So if my teacher has given lots of work, but I know that after doing this work, so I will develop or I will gain the mastery over this topic. So of course, that meaningfulness is directly connected to emotion and motivation, and also the manageability, which is more a behavioral part, that in the process of developing comprehensibility and meaningfulness, we also nurture our behavior, that how to deal with my environment. So how to actually access to the resources. So if I am stuck in my homework, that if I am stuck to understand a concept, so I know that my teacher is there and he is accessible. So instead of becoming stressed, so I know that my teacher is there and I can approach. So this is more of a behavioral things, right? So all together, of course, it is our resource through which we basically resist our challenges, our demands, our adversities in life. And so this is the, literature that actually I have, studied and also tried to integrate the concepts from this particular article, listed as a chapter in the handbook of salutogenesis. So this is then if we think that the components of salutogenesis as sense of coherence and generalized resources, what in the childhood and in the adolescent phase a child basically develops, right? So the components of what actually include those three basic components like comprehensibility, manageability, and the meaningfulness. So in the system of salutogenesis, so what are the three basic components then we can actually integrate into the educational setting, and how this connection to be made? So first, this system actually it asks to focus on the person as a whole. So you come to the last point, to focus on the whole person and not only on a specific disease. So in an education system, so each and every child to be, evaluated, attended, and taught in the system individually, paying attention to individual needs. So we are basically nurturing the positive individual experiences in the system. So I'm going to the next, to address and promote salutary factors. So of course, that which environment actually, facilitate the outcome, the positivity in the child, as well as that the learning outcome that we can actually get, which environment is can optimally facilitate the attention in the child, so the child can listen to the class better. At the same time, the concept should focus on the whole system. It is just not only student, it is just not only teachers also. So in the whole process, the non-teaching staff who actually deal with the admin process, and also these the caretakers of the school who take really care of the children in terms of their different needs and all. So the total scenario to be looked at under this concept of salutogenesis. So this is one of the intervention model that they came up with, was the whole school, whole community, and the whole child model. So this is something very interesting, what we basically called as an ecological theory in the psychological, developmental psychological understanding. So in this theory, so if you see that the child at the center, so with the components of the health, with the components of health, the child's safety, the child's interpersonal engagement, etc., etc. Of course, the next, horizon, of course, to whom the child basically connect with, right? So it's a bigger horizon, and of course, beyond that, it is the community from where actually the child is coming. So in the system of this whole school, whole community, and the whole child model, where each and every component actually is considered to be contributing to the education system. So in such a model, it is possible to, through education and health promotion, to support the development of children at cognitive, physical, social, and emotional level. So what basically in the salutogenesis theory also, it basically focuses on how we can focus on an individual in a more holistic manner. It is just not the symptom, it is just not the disease, but the factors responsible for a healthy functioning of an individual. So we know that these are the common principles that we can actually adopt from the salutogenic principles, like the health continuum model, the story of the person, so basically the individual experiences, health promoting factors, understanding the tension and strain factors in the environment of the child, as well as active adaptation. So all of these principles actually under the umbrella of music therapy we can include. So now I'm going to the next section of my presentation, that how music therapy fits well with this concept. So music therapy as a holistic health and well-being. So here you see that if I consider that, of course, individual at the center. So a music therapist actually interact with his or her patient at all levels of intrapersonal, or you can say the internal, interpersonal. So where the therapist basically communicate, interact, form an interpersonal engagement or the relationship, or in other way that we also called it as intersubjectivity. So intersubjectivity means that when we are basically exchanging, we are basically getting engaged with the other person's subjectivity. So both the therapist and the client subjectivity is coming on the common platform. So this interpersonal communication, as well as behavioral aspect. So, I mean, dealing with the behavior, how a positive lifestyle can be nurtured through music, how the behavioral factors can be, controlled by using music, like impulsivity, hyperactivity, inattentiveness, problem behaviors. So everything can be dealt with music therapy. And also like the external factors, which is actually belong to this external part. So basically that how a good ambience can be created in the class by using music. Also like control of other external factors. So in fact, the teacher's training also come under these external factors. So little bit of knowledge of the teacher that how to use music when it is in need, right? So these also come under this external factor. So a music therapist basically work in all of these domains that he or she deals with the holistic health of a person, be it an educational context or it is a clinical context. So here I have listed just few. It is just a few techniques and the activities, or you can say the musical expressions that we can use typically in an educational context, like listening, mirroring. So mirroring, yesterday's, in one faculty development program, we were watching some videos that how the mirroring as a technique can be used when you are copying a child, when you are exactly copying the activity the child is doing. So when the child can see the reflection of his action on therapist, basically the child enjoys and pays attention. So mirroring, reflecting, accompanying, synchronizing, empathizing, turn taking, most importantly, dialoguing, that how you are basically talking to your child. So we know that early childhood stage, or even in the stage of infancy, it is basically the dialoguing between the parent and the baby infant is actually the food for emotion. So parent is or mother is that basically nurtured this basic emotions in the infants, and it is from where actually the further growth and development of emotions take place. So dialoguing in the it is similarly, it is important in the classroom context when a teacher talking to the student, as well as discussing, sharing. And on the other side, if you see that as an activity, maintaining silence, even introducing humor in the classroom context, maintaining space, musical games, movements, colors, storytelling. Basically, we can say all kinds of creative expressions can actually be implemented through music therapy or the musical techniques, and of course, many more. So now, just let us see that who are the population. Here, of course, I'm not going to focus on the adolescent group, and I'm also not going to focus on the population of teaching and the non-teaching staff under the title of my presentation today. So I'm just focusing on the children population. So you see that, of course, that music is actually, it is needed by all of us to get music in an educational setup. One doesn't actually need to fulfill any criteria. So each and every child in an educational environment is a potential client or the population to receive music or music therapy. So students with disability, students without disability, students with learning issues. So often, many times we see that the children with learning issues or the learning disability, they are often undiagnosed or they are ignored. So what happens as a result? The child lacks motivation and they are quite distant. So they don't mingle or mix with the, other children in the class. And also teachers find them to motivate and get engaged in the learning process. and also students with emotional behavioral issues. So sometimes that emotion is the cause for a disrupted behavior, and sometimes the behavior itself is the cause for a disrupted, dysfunctional emotional experiences, lack in emotional regulation, etc. And also students who are at risk, maybe with a dysfunctional family background, living with single parent environment, where are maybe lots of insecurities. So basically, or maybe the children of the drug addicted parents, the children of the alcoholic parents, right? So these students are also at risk, and they are quite a vulnerable population to get music and the music therapy based intervention in the educational setup. So this is just to show that in Chennai School of Music Therapy, that we started with a program which called as Music Mom. So basically that music as a mother in the educational setup. So our actually objective was that through singing, moving, playing, and also, making sounds between the teacher and student, or the music therapist and the student, how we can actually facilitate the growth and development of children at physical, emotional, social, even linguistic development, in all these dimensions of development. So, and also that there was a training component was included in this program, that how the teacher can be supportive and responsive to the need of each and every child. So here are some activities that, just the example to give you an idea that how the music in educational setup can be, implemented. So here you see that, different activities were listed under different areas of development. So here that, for example, like guiding and instructing to make certain actions, movements through songs. So sometimes you will see not all children, but some children, they will be quite confused with their movements, right? So, music can be a guide for them for these coordinated actions and movements. So sometimes if you give two instructions together, maybe that you bring your bag and you just bring the books out from your bag, they will be quite confused. Maybe they will just bring the bag and will stand in front of the teacher for the next instruction. Right? But the musically, this guidance can be possible so that they can coordinate and they can maintain the sequence, that bringing back, and next step is that bringing the book out from the back and maybe opening the book in front of in front of him on the desk. Right? So this series of the sequences of action, was one of the activity under, I think it was under the motor and the cognitive domain. Then maybe introducing different musical instruments. So here you see that music therapist is working at external level. So whereby you are giving actually an experience to the child by making different sounds, by using different instruments. So this way what happens, the child's awareness of the environment is quite, get a good stimulation. So the child become more and more aware of themselves, that what they are hearing from the environment, as well as they get lots of motivation to pay attention to the environment, because it is quite attractive, made with different sounds. So I'm going to the next activity, like musical memory game. So music can be actually a good way to facilitate their recall and the recognition process. So so same music, if it is song, basically, if it is repeated over in a different sessions or in each and every class, so different concepts, and we can say it is there in our system also. It is there, like how the nursery rhymes are basically meant to be, like ABCD song, 1 2 3 4 song, the color song, etc. So they are basically is given and used or practiced to strengthen their concepts about maybe alphabet, number, color, shapes, etc. And also another important aspect is that storytelling through music. This is also something, it's very important activity, can be, included in the children's program. That when a story is told through music, the child actually understand the narrative much better than when it is, I mean, it is a research-based phenomena that when the story is presented verbally. So if you actually listen to the children's story, maybe if you can just play on YouTube or something, that the storytellers, that how they tell the story, that it will be, they will always talk in a sing-song manner. So the intonation of the storyteller's voice will be always in a musical voice. Why is it? Because the music, it captures, it attracts their attention. At the same time, it also helps in relaxation. So it means that their sympathetic nervous system will be more activated. So then it's very important, maybe in a school setup, that there can be some time when the children are coming forward and just listening to musical stories. So this is activity like the musical improvisation. So giving opportunity to children like for spontaneous music making. So how this help? Actually, this musical improvisation, it is just not for the, I mean, small children or the small kids, but it can also be applied for the, I mean, elder kids like maybe grade 5 onwards, even for the adolescent students, grade 9 onwards, 9 to 12 and all. So where through spontaneous music making, they will have lots of opportunities to express their feelings and their emotions. There is also an activity like music for self. So you can just simply ask the child that you create, maybe you compose, you spontaneously think or associate some words to the melody that I'm giving to you. So this way also it helps a child, even it's a more like a psychoanalytical function, that the child can think maybe which is coming from the unconscious, or the through some association, that some words are coming and the child can relate in the context of education and can connect. And if any emotional resolution is needed at that moment only, that it is possible to resolve the conflict, it is possible to resolve the stress. So what basically this music making activities, that how they help, right? So of course, a music making, be it an individual music making or it is a group or duet, maybe you are playing in a band or choir, in an orchestra, in any kind of school program or functions, of course, it helps to make a child disciplined, patient, competent, as well as they learn to be dedicated on whatever they are doing. And of course, these processes also have the influence on how it, has the effect on their mental functions. It always boosts the positive emotion, the self-confidence, self-esteem, positive thoughts, positive association, and also that nurturance of creativity, which is extremely, all of these personal qualities are extremely important in the, when they are in the education setup, and also when they are out of that educational setting for their life. And at the same time, in the process of music making, and with the knowledge of the mind body medicine and the theories, we also know that how music making also has its effects on different health benefits, including both physical and psychological, and also music making together, that it enhances the social functions in children. So these are just some of the areas where music therapy has the direct effect in children's life. Of course, the learning and academic, socialization, engagement. So basically the interpersonal communication, in social interaction, relationship, all of these, emotional regulation. So they learn to control their emotion. They learn how in a positive way that they can express their emotions, which are extremely important, as well as to deal or to cope with stress, to control, to have control over behavior, as well as their self-development. So I am sure that, it is possible to relate and understand that all of these salutogenic orientation, or the components of, a sense of coherence and generalized resistance resources, that how one can actually develop and gain maybe after they pass through this childhood and the adolescent phase. So these are basically the foundation. And actually this nurturance of each and every areas of these life, these dimensions can actually successfully lead to the, a positive sense of coherence in adult life. When in an adult life, if a trauma comes, if maybe a child has gone through an abuse, so the person can looks back and comprehend that if it was an abuse, but still my life is not stopped here, I can move on. I have meaning for my life. Maybe whatever happens in our life has got some meaning. And also it is a learning opportunity to move on, to go on. So it teaches how to adapt and to use the generalized resistance resource for what we really don't need to look for outside, but of course inside. This is mainly for the population with disability. So these are these three main areas like communication skills, socialization or the social skills, motor development or the motor skills, and also the emotional regulations, where basically the music therapy or the music focused therapies or the strategies, basically they work with the students with disability by giving different musical activities through which they can develop their communication, even starting from the pre-verbal communication. For example, if you are dealing with children with autism, right? So mostly they'll be non-verbal in case of severity, or maybe if the child between moderate and severe or between mild and moderate. So most of the time that we see that they will get the pre-verbal stage. Actually, music therapy can start working from the non-verbal stage. Non-verbal to pre-verbal and pre-verbal to it can go up to the verbal level. So music therapy can go to that deep and work with children with disability. And of course, emotional regulation. Often they find that music is a space for them to express their emotions. And of course, the gross motor and the fine motor development and socialization skills. So I have almost come to the end of my presentation. So this is just a suggestion that how it is possible to design musical activities, in an educational setup. So what is the first thing that as a music therapist, my suggestion is that the musical activities before to suggest to a class or before suggesting to a particular child, which specifically focus on the need of that particular child, the activities need to be very much structured. So what are the components that come under this structure is that the objectives should be very distinct, because as you are going to propose this to the teacher or maybe to the higher authority of the school, that who are basically in a position to implement, to use the concept. So they always look for the outcome. So if you are going to give this technique to the class of students maybe for 1 month, so what will be the outcome and whether we can measure this outcome or not. But of course, qualitative aspect is also important. We shouldn't ignore that. The subjective experience of the children, we shouldn't ignore that. So objective wise, that we need to be very much distinct, qualitative, and more importantly, it should be quantitative, so that we can show the change at the end of the program. We should be very much particular about the methodology in terms of assessment, planning, as well as execution. And of course, the evaluation. So like whether, how I'm going to evaluate the outcome. Is it going to be the before and after, pre and post, or maybe it is so serious, it is so critical that it needs a continuous process of evaluation. So these are the components that to implement a musical activity in an educational setting is extremely important. So I have, listed just a few activities like in the cognitive domain. For example, that identifying name. So this is typically for children with special needs, not for the typically developing children. And also like following two-step directive. So maybe that you can use the name of the child prominently in the song, And you can actually teach the child when the name is sung, you are supposed to raise your hand. Actually, it is not a simple activity. It requires lots of coordination. Listening, coordinating movement with the listening, and as well as most importantly, responding to the name, right? So it is what is important, that breaking down the task and also teaching at each and every step. And sometimes to facilitate the behavior at each and every step or level, maybe the therapists need to facilitate the behavior by giving a reinforcement, or maybe by shaping the behavior using some other type of reinforcement, etc. So this is one of socialization domain where the turn taking can be developed. What the children with special needs, they often lack. They cannot take turn. They cannot wait for their turn to come. They will be so impulsive. So musically, maybe by sharing instruments, or you can just give some percussion instruments and you can just tell them that it has to be played in a sequence. So, after you are done with your playing, you have to stop and wait for the other turn. So like that, in a group, you can make a group and the drum circle can be conducted in a very simplistic manner and all. And also like coordination between different movements like join, shake, release, back. So these, words can actually be implemented by through some music, right? By associating some instrument. So one important message is that in the educational context, that when you are doing with children, it is not always possible that we strictly go by one method. So often it is the combination, or we see the overlap between the music therapeutic methods. Sometimes maybe we need to go for the behaviorally oriented approach where lots of reinforcement needs to be given, where maybe it is a structured improvisation. So improvisation, the spontaneous music making is taking place, but within a defined structure. And sometimes maybe it is the, recreated process. So you are recreating a song, or maybe that, you are just composing, you are helping the children to compose something. And sometimes it is a mix of different methods. So, that's how usually these music therapeutic methods can be implemented through designed therapeutic activities for children. And as I told you, it can be given for children with disability and also children without disability, because in the typically developing group also, we do not know the children who are at risk, who are maybe silently suffering with some issues which is undetected, which is undiagnosed. So these are just a few suggestions that how basically we can integrate music in educational context. That of course there is, a lot of, need that the research to be done to see that what exactly that the sense of coherence play a role in the life of childhood and adolescence, whether it is really a determinant or it is an outcome of the developmental processes. So the way we facilitate the development of a child, so the way we are going to nurture the sense of coherence for adult life. Also that intervention studies need to be done in a school setting. So I know that one of our students at SoMT, that she is doing music therapy for adolescent students in a school, and she's trying to see that whether by giving music therapy the life skills of the children can be improved or not. It's one of the very important researches, I would say, in the present time. And also to explore the pathways leading to, sense of coherence, and also that, whether we can think of making some guidelines and to distribute to the education stakeholders and in schools, college, universities, that to identify as well as to integrate that when actually children do need music, that and how in different ways that music can actually be integrated. So that level work has, I don't think that it has still started in our country. And of course, that incorporating music and music therapy strategies in the teachers training program, like when the teachers go for BA training and the MA training, that they can also be trained with some basic music therapeutic techniques of how to use music to deal with the needs of children in educational setting or in a classroom. So this is my last slide. So of course that we need to transform children basically from saying that what did I do to change my bad mood? So instead of talking in negative terms and also to deal with the negative state of mind, rather we should focus more on helping them to focus on their happiness rather to say that what did I do to make myself happy? So yes, that's all. And these are my references. And thank you all for this patient listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baishali ma'am. This was, I think, the best presentation I have heard you make till now. Very, very heartful, very, very stimulating, and very comprehensive. You have brought in the correlation between the salutogenesis, the music therapy, the educational setup. You have also given a futuristic roadmap that can be adopted. So I open the floor up for other points. I think there's a question in the chat box also. Before that, Dr. Meena, yes, please.
Namaste. Yeah. So this, Baishali ma'am was so enlightening because each and everything that you were speaking about, I was able to relate to it because I've worked with children with special needs, children with autism, each and everything, how this could be leading to enhancing the sense of coherence, overall wellness. That's what we are aiming, through music or through yoga. But it was so beautiful the way you brought it out, especially, I just love the fact when you said through simple activities, simple songs, stories where, you could do it. They really enjoy doing that. And when they get involved, because otherwise involving them in an activity is not going to happen. Unless and until they are involved, the comprehensibility is not going to happen because they don't understand what we are doing. So, when you said a simple activity like take your bag, take the book out of the bag and, open a book, all these through a song, I could relate to what we would do in yoga. Say a simple movement like sit in Vajrasana through demonstration, of course. We don't tell them to do anything, but we demonstrate so that they can follow us. They look at us and then they understand what we are doing and they do repeat that activity. So sit in Vajrasana, take your hands over to Anjali Mudra as you inhale. So it is like so many activities all combining in one movement. So that, I was able to relate that to what Claudia was saying, sense for coherence. How this ability that they understand something and then start doing that activity, start demonstrating that comprehensibility, making them understand gives them that meaning. Yes, I'm able to do an activity, understand, do an activity, which is kind of leading to a sense of, I'm able to repeat, I'm able to do it again, and then they understand better, giving them the sense of security. As Claudia was so beautifully explaining, how sense for coherence is happening, a sense of security. The more they keep doing this, repeating this, there is mastery that is gained, One moment you just tell them what to do, they start repeating it. So they have understood what it is all about. And like you said, combining all this is a big task for them, coordinating all these. So once they start, for example, the movement with the breath and a particular posture, so all of them combined in one way, and that is enhancing the coordination. Say you can relate it to the sensory, motor, whatever you wanted, the cognitive, the neurological, that goes on and on and on. But the movement, like gaining mastery in that naturally empowers them. So all these, the sense for coherence is enhanced, and like they know that they have, like this is a coping skill that is getting developed, leading to a better sense of coherence. I just hope that this pathway could be, like you said, researched more, or what we are speaking about is more anecdotal. But we need to bring it into the scientific society, that whatever simple task we are doing is leading to this, right?
Yes.
I just hope that, yoga therapy and music therapy through this ISCM can be integrated, that at least, for children with special needs, children with autism, overall, what is the whole aim? What is the whole purpose? To enhance, wellness in these beings, where they are not able to do it for themselves, right? So thank you so much, Baishali.
Thank you, Dr. Meena. Thank you for this insightful feedback, that it's really very important. The way you integrated further this concept with yoga, it really makes lots of sense, because we also use lots of movements into the music therapeutic context, because music cannot be made without movement. So music movement, it's parallel, it comes together. Yeah, thank you so much.
And Dr. Baishali, chat box, there's a question from Yakun Liu, and they have asked about, do you think sense of coherence will still exist in people's daily life and will last until the end of life is one? And what are the difference of music therapy in children and adults or older adults? Can you see the chat box, and maybe you could take it up from there?
Yeah, okay. Two questions, okay. Do you think that SOCs will still exist in people's daily life and will last until the end of life? What are the big difference in music therapy between children adults or even older adults? Depends on your answer. Okay, let me answer the first question, that whether it still exists in people's daily life. Of course, it exists in people's daily life. But one thing that I was discussing, but of course that what Dr. Meena said is right, that it's all based on the reports and the anecdotal information, that basically SOC, it's a developmental, it's an outcome of our development in the childhood and the adolescent phase. What basically it gets is full shape in the adult's life. And of course it is something, it should exist in our day-to-day life. And also that, from our past discussion, that what I have understood, that, the last class only, that last session only, that there was a discussion, maybe that when we go through some phase of adversities, or maybe some severity that we experience in our life, at that point of time, of course, the sense of coherence, it goes down. But once, with time, with support, with responsiveness from the people who are around us, but it is possible that sense of coherence, again, we can gain it back. And if you ask me that whether it still exists at the end of life, I would say yes, it exists. And we have different examples of this. And of course, I know that Dr. Anand, Dr. Meena will have several examples from the perspective of yoga and Indian philosophy. But the other way, from music therapeutic view, I can say that that is the reason why the music therapy works in the palliative care unit. So that's where actually, that is the region where basically the music therapist work with patient to give a sense of comprehensibility that what the person is going through, right? So whatever is happening, but still it is meaningful. That I can remember that one of my student working with patient, young patient with leukemia at that age. He was at age of 23 at that time. So it was a very critical phase, that the person was going through, and it was the music therapy which actually helped the person to change his view totally about the treatment perspective and all. And gradually the person recovered. He was capable of taking the chemotherapies and everything. So of course, the music therapist actually worked and helped the patient to have the experience as meaningful in life. So yes, it exists till the end of life. And the last question, that yes, there are differences between that when the music therapy is done with children and music therapy is done for adults and older adults. But it will be the complete class then I need to take. So maybe that in future we will get some opportunities to discuss it further. So this is, we call that basically the developmental model of therapy, that how with age that the therapeutic, methods, it changes, because as we are growing, as we are developing, our environment is also changing for us. So it will not, therapy will not take place in the similar manner that how it is for children, adults and older adults. There are differences.
I was thinking
development and maturity, it actually impacts.
I was thinking, ma'am, one thing is, I don't think we ever outgrow the desire for fun. So I think if we can make fun, I think at all age groups, we can have fun, and that will make us feel better. But of course, the methodologies, the techniques may differ from age to age.
Mm-hmm.
But if we are trying to find that sense of ease, I think it's beautiful. Yes, yes, please, you can unmute. Yes, thank you.
And hello, doctors. Thank you for your question. And I have another small question about your work. And may I ask you whether you published your results in the database, or because I want to learn more details about them, about the music therapy. Yeah. Could you give your
topic?
The music therapy, the population,
music
the publication.
Music therapy for children with autism I have, but not particularly in this topic that what I have presented today.
Okay. Thank you so much.
There are, on our website, there are a lot of publications over the last 13 years from music therapy and yoga therapy. So you could just email us and we can send you a compilation that will help you understand the context also. So thank you for joining us and thank you for the question. Any other questions or comments from anyone? We have gone a bit late today, but we have had 2 amazing sessions. So, it's a really fulfilled, a felt need. And this is where I think a few words from Ingan would be nice, because she has been the one motivating me, saying that, you're always trying to fit into another model of salutogenesis. But then what are you offering salutogenesis? And I think today, this session today has given us a lot of good ideas. Yes, Ingan.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Baishali Mukherjee, for a very nice and inspiring presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I think you integrated these major thoughts from salutogenesis very well into your work with music therapy for children. But I think Dr. Meena and Dr. Ananda raised very important points, that because it needs to also very strongly be based on the perspectives and needs of the children, that they should be empowered and they should have fun in the process, because otherwise it just becomes some new task for children to perform on. And I think we saw in the last presentation the way that the children, and also the example of the women giving birth, that they were very empowered and that it was such a positive process. And I think it's so important to realize that meaningfulness and joy are not easily measured, because with the demands for evidence-based therapy these days, it's sometimes we get so eager to measure everything that we miss the point that empowerment, meaningfulness, joy. And sometimes I remember one time Dr. Meena was presenting something of her work with the children. She said, oh, we have not measured enough, but you could see the joy in the faces of those children. And that was the most important finding. And also for the teachers, I think the notions, this sense for coherence, that the teachers need to understand that in order to work with the children. Because if they understand these concepts, then it's easier to empower children and really take the needs of children as the point of departure. But I think your ending slide with the emphasizing the factors that bring happiness is very important. Yes, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ingen. I would like to request Devasena to say a few words before we close. Nissa? Yes.
Namaste, ma'am. Wonderful section. And of course, as Dr. said, it's for all the category people actually needed, because everyone slowly actually losing their happiness, started to worry a lot. And that's what Ammaji says always, keep smiling, always Ammaji says to the people, I mean, all the students always remaining in her, all her letter, even she end with that actually. And she's, I mean, writing the letters even for all the people. And of course, I thought actually all the movements, like in the tradition, the people go, no, like the chanting, even they like chanting, they learned. So it was easier. And of course, with the movement always, when we are chanting, even though when you're going like a pataka, stripataka, or the pataka, like even like a little star, like stars, they make the gestures. So even the kids, when they're going with the gestures, and it was helpful for them, they enjoy, of course, they lose themselves and they started to think what the joy in that, what they are chanting, what the, even the small songs when they are singing. So that really helps. And of course, I think we need to go back to the like a tradition way, like hearing, chanting, make the gestures. And of course, it's you are concentrating like special kids and like that. But I think for all the people actually need it nowadays. Because whenever we are talking with the teaching with the kids, like when we are making like them to fun, like making the sounds, the animal sounds, or like simply sometimes like in the dance in Navarasa, we make them to just laugh, or just sometimes just feel like you are really worrying so much, suffering. I mean, just cry like that when we are making them. It's a lot of fun. Like in the dance, that's what Ammaji says in the yoga, it takes its help a lot, and you can, I mean, get away from that, but it will take time, even though when you are practicing the pranayamas. But in the dance, it's easier, because more easier, because with the rasa, with the expression, you need to act, even though you are not really angry, you have to really act, you are angry. So like that same way, we are making them, like bringing them more positive, more smiling, more happy. So it's like getting the habit, no, practice, no, like Ammaji says, regularity, repetition, and rhythm. So it's just make the kids like in that rhythm. So even though kids not able to understand that we are making, but I think for the ordinary people, even not only the kids actually, the nowadays even the adults, they cannot really take what they simply what we are telling them. They are not able to understand. Just simply they are confusing lot. I think this is a method that we have to maybe try for the even the normal schools, so that they maybe they'll start to really think, and what they are doing exactly comes in the like a repetition rhythm. It comes helps them. I think wonderful section. Thank you so much, madam. Your work really the
Thank you.
great seva for the society. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So we would like to close the session thanking Dr. Baishali for a very wonderful, thought-provoking talk. And next week, we have a very interesting session by Dr. Srinidhi Parthasarathy, who is going to talk about the Bhagavad Gita with reference to holistic health. You heard some pointers from Sridharan sir today. Dr. Srinidhi is the former registrar at SBSA University in Bangalore. And he himself is a singer, a musician, and a Harikatha artist. So we are in for a joyful time. And following that, we have our own Bhuvneshwari Ramesh, assistant professor here, talking about the musically express your emotions and thoughts, the Garbha Sanskar, Nada Yoga, Nadam, these which are best practices of our institute. So stay tuned with us till next week, and looking forward to seeing you all again. We'll close with a prayer. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you.